Okay, hello everyone. Today is May the 13th, uh, 2014, and I'll be moving to Texas tonight. So I want to get this out there and let y'all understand it in your mind so that you can understand why do I keep bringing up the Swish? Why did I say that that was one of the main pivotal points in my recovery? Well, first of all, I mean, you have to know a few things about the Swish and the way we are in some psychology. So I'm going to go ahead and run that down right now. You're born into this world. When you're born into this world, you're given a family. And when you're given this family, you become conditioned. The way they do things, you start to learn to do things. That's how you start to learn to do things in your life. You become conditioned. And then as you get older, all these conditionings become belief systems. Some of them become belief systems, like what church you might go to, how your family believes about certain things, politics or whatever. It becomes a conditioning. But what also becomes conditioned is fears, uh, just the traumatic things that's happened in your life, all kinds of situations that we can just, make up in our minds that never even happened, and so forth. So we think, why do we want to know about these conditionings? Why do we need to know about these the Swish? What is he trying to? What's the point? Well, here's the point. The point is, you've had a bad, damaging thought stream for years. Well, what if you could just go in and take that and change it to a beautiful thought stream? That's the point. I mean, it would take away the negative thought stream you got to it, and make it positive. I mean, why wouldn't you make you feel better? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's all about to make you feel better. It's all how you feel better. Plus it's things that you haven't processed yet in your mind. Like when we do journaling and TMS healing, the journaling is so that you can process it, so that you can face the situations, look at them face on, and learn from what you're writing down. Something you might have not wanted to think about for 20 years, or haven't thought about for 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years. So it's nothing like journaling, but in a way, it is, because it's a form of release. Journaling is a form of release, but the Swish is a form of release too. So, well, again, what do I mean by the Swish? And let's just break it down. Well, the Swish deals with how we take in thoughts. How do we take in thoughts? Well, we know that a lot of thoughts is conditioned, and we have triggers and anchors to situations. A trigger, something sets you off, and you just get mad. An anchor is something, it'll bring back a thought. An anchor will bring back a thought. So why do I bring up anchors and triggers and all of that in my book and teach about it? Because people need to know what a trigger is, what's setting you off, That's what we need to fix, that part. And why is it setting you off? Even more so, that's what we need to fix and work on that. But first of all, you need to know what's setting you off. Okay, that's a trigger. Okay, and then other things is like an anchor. Like what brought back this thought in my mind uh, that made me feel bad all of a sudden. Well, somebody might have tapped you on the arm the way your mother tapped you on the arm when she would get mad at you when you was a child, or your father, or your brother, or your sister, whoever, might get mad at you. Okay, these are all thought streams. These all settle in our bodies and our minds, and we have to know how. In the Swish, we don't need to get into no content. I don't need to know, what happened with Joe and Harry and Louise and Mama Sue down the road. I don't need to know all that stuff. All I need to know to be able to help you with the Swish is, first of all, is it something that's bothering you? Second of all, is it something that's been there a long time and you just can't get rid of it? Okay, and most people should say yes to that. Everybody should have a memory or a thought or a feeling that's just there and they can't get rid of it. A lot of times when we do the Swish, we'll try to catch a memory, something that somebody can't just get out on paper and release it. something somebody can't just get rid of. It's just there and it's bothering them. They might even be going through it right now. Like I've been doing for quite a while. I've been going through a lot of stuff that's just pushed me forth to be better. Okay? But a lot of people, while you're going through all those hard things, you won't look at the situation as it's pushing you to make you better. It'll actually give you, nervousness and anxiety and fears, and which all that over years accumulates to pain. It could even give you, have you ever gotten mad and upset, and then all of a sudden, because you have TMS, you got it, and then all of a sudden, because you got angry and upset, right then and there, you felt pain in your body somewhere? Yes. I mean, I think a lot of us do that. I think a lot of us feel that. So what if we could take that thought stream, get away from all the ruckus and everything, just get away from all of it and think for a minute. What is it that I'm thinking about, and why am I thinking about it? Okay? How am I doing in my mind what's causing me to feel the way I'm feeling right now? Because usually, if you're feeling something, there's something going on up in the mind. There's a thought stream going through there. There's a voice up there saying, "Oh man, you should have done it better. You ain't no good. You're doing terrible." Or there's a feeling in your body. There's a feeling in the body. So if we learn thoughts through our senses, which is taste, feel, smell, visuals, sight and hearing, if we can, if that's how we bring in conditionings and triggers and we store resources and memories and thoughts with those five senses, if we do that with those five senses, then that's where you go to change things. If you're, and of course you store it with the imagination, you store it with your memory, as we call it, but it's also your imagination. It's also called the imagination. Your memory is called the imagination. And when I bring this up, people are like, "Oh man, right there." As soon as I brought up imagination, people are like, "I don't even want to hear it." Well, what if I stayed with the memories? I mean, do you got these memories that bother you? Do you got sounds, saying all these things in the mind that you can't get out, which I like ISTDP too, where you can just, turn around and tell it to be quiet, or, ask it, questions like an IFS. But I love the IFS model, by the way. I've gotten a lot, fixed there, in that area of expertise, as it is called, self-help therapy. I've gotten a lot done with the IFS model. But the Swish seems to be the quickest when I have an issue pop up in my head that might be bothering me. It might be about something that I have to, like I have a show tonight, And in my mind, I'll just go ahead in my mind and I'll think it kind of into the future. I'll see that the show went well. I'll see that people got healed. I'll see that, people listened and it did good things for them. It led them in better directions. It opened up their thought stream to new ideas. I think like that, and that's one of the lessons I learned earlier in the week. But what if, what if you can't get this thought stream to stop going the way it's going, and it's just aggravating you and it just bothers you, okay? Well, that's where, again, what is it, how do we store thoughts? How do we store memories? Well, we store thoughts and memories through the five senses. Right? The five senses. So if I can go into where the five senses are stored, which is in your memories, and how do I get into your memories other than the imagination? All I got to do is ask you, well, can you think? Can you think of what's bothering you? And if you can think of what's bothering you at that time, and if you can associate a picture with it, well, then we can go from there. And what I'll tell you is just go ahead and imagine there's a black and white dot in the middle of that picture and let it expand. And now you see nothing but a big black and white picture. Okay? Now look at the black and white picture, and as you see the black and white picture, Nothing but black and white. Just black and white. It can even be gray. But as you see it, you look out there and now you see a yellow dot. Just a yellow like pinhead dot. And then it expands. Then it expands. And just fills up the whole picture like a wall. Nothing but a big yellow wall. Okay? Now you imagine that yellow wall going into 3D. Just expanding into 3D, and you can see it just, you know, all beautiful and glowing yellow in 3D. Okay? And then you look out and see a white dot in the middle of the yellow dot. Okay? Let the white dot expand. Okay? Let the white dot expand. Just fill up the whole wall or whole picture frame that you're looking at. While you're doing that, imagine you got a paint roller in your hand and you're going to paint over the white wall now. And as you got the white wall painted and everything, just imagine it all turns glossy and it's beautiful. And when it does, imagine that you got a rock and just throw it. Okay? You got a rock and you just throw it. And it busts the big white wall. And it goes through a hole. It goes through a hole down into the floor. And when it goes through the hole in the floor, imagine the hole in the floor just closing up. Do that now. Everything I've said. You're going to have to rewind it. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to rewind it and do it. You need to do this 3 or 4 times. And then when you get done with that, go ahead and look at something white for a few seconds. Something that doesn't matter if it's a white piece of paper, a white wall, anything. Look at something white for a few seconds. And then, after that, I'll say, now think back on what it was that's bothering you. That's called a visual swish. We can get rid of what you're seeing up there that's bothering you. You'll always remember it. It just won't bother you anymore. And that's how it works. That's how a visual swish works. Okay, you say, well, I can't see nothing, but I can feel it. Okay, well, just imagine what you're feeling. Okay? Feel it. You feel it? Is it, you know, from some negative memory or some negative past or some negative thought? Go ahead and feel the feeling. You know, relax, of course, relax. Be relaxed when you do these things. Relax, feel the feeling, and then when you feel the feeling, don't judge it. Don't criticize it. Don't fear it. Just know it's there and just feel it. And a lot of times through this sort of focusing style that I picked up from Eugene Gendlin, I don't think that's the extent of the way he does it. But me, when I have a negative emotion, I'll just focus on it and feel it. And I won't. And I'll just think about my breathing. Like that. And then I'll focus on the emotion again. And I might even bring up the name of the emotion. Like, well, that's the emotion of anger. And then I might see the word anger in my mind, and then I'll blow it like that, and I'll focus on the emotion again. Without judgment, fear, or criticism. And usually doing that right there will dissipate. Will get the negative feeling in my body to leave. Well, somebody says, well, what if it sounds? What if it's that voice or something? I can't. Well, have you ever thought about turning around, just tell it to be quiet? Or have you ever heard of, you know, something in the mind? Have you ever thought to ask it why? Why? Like it says, well, you ain't no good. And you say, why? Why ain't I no good? You know, like that. You'll notice that the voice right there will be quiet. Because the voice is you, you know? The voice is you. It's all you. Every bit of this is you. Every bit of this is your thought streams. This is your feelings, and this is your voice that you think is, you know, coming from somewhere else. Now it might be, you know, don't get me wrong, the voice might be your mother, you know. It might be your mother, but it'll be coming through in your voice once you turn around and you ask it why, or tell it to be quiet, or tell it to shut up, or just turn the volume down. Imagine you hear the voice, and then there's a big, like an imaginary knob that used to be on the old radios. It's on the radios or whatever. It goes left to right, you know. And you just turn it down. You turn the volume all the way down. You imagine it's on 10 and you just turn it all the way to 0. And then you think of the voice again in your mind, and you probably won't hear the voice. You just turned it down. See, because you learn through your five senses again. That's how you learn. You learn through your five senses and to your imagination. And then what gets into your imagination is in your belief system. And it's what's in your belief system that tells how you're going to feel emotionally. But none of that's important. What's important is the part to where we get rid of these nagging visuals and sounds and feelings that we've been suffering with all of our lives as TMSers. And we can learn to get rid of them as easily as we can learn to eat with a fork and spoon, right? As easily as we can learn to, work a video game. I mean, that's what it is, especially when you see the visuals, when you see the pictures, that are simulated, or, when you have a bad memory, the pictures that are with the bad memory, and you take and you do what I said a while ago about seeing the white and black dot, and then it expands, and then seeing the yellow dot and it expands, and then seeing a white dot and it expands, and then you throw a rock at it and watch it bust, go through a hole in the floor, and imagine, and then think back into your imagination after you look at something white for a few minutes, or a few seconds, then look at something white, then think in your imagination, what was bothering me? And you'll see that it'll take away the emotional effect. Because a lot of us are visual, a lot of us are auditorial, to where we hear sounds more than we see pictures in our imagination when we think about it. And a lot of us take on feelings, where we feel the feelings more. I forgot the name of that psalm or something. But anyway, it's where we feel the feelings more. And if you can feel the feelings, I would say if all you do is feel the feelings, use Eugene Jennings' focusing, be mindful and things like that, and don't be scared, criticize, or fear those emotions, and they'll dissipate. They'll lighten up and they'll leave. Because that's the problem. We've been focusing so long on our negative feelings and how we don't want to have them, and so a lot of people go take drugs, or the doctors say, well, you shouldn't be, if you're feeling that way, well, then you might need to take this pill here, and that's not the answer. The answer is these feelings are coming up in our body because it's something that's not, that you're not selling with, you're not happy with it, you're not complete with this in your mind and body, this feeling. So you need to process it. That's the whole idea. Everybody needs to process these emotions, these traumas they've been through, and you can process them real simple. You don't have to go through a lot of content and go back and talk about all the things you've been through and all the terrible stuff. You can just go right in and take these right out within a matter of minutes and be free. Now, I've laid it out here, and it's took me almost 19 minutes. So I hope that you guys can really pick up on this and the power in it, okay? I'll explain it again tonight on the show, and if anybody wants to get rid of a visual that's been bothering them for a long time, then it'll take a minute. I mean, it's simple. It's self-help. That's what it is. It's, we've been trying to get the word out. Richard Bandler and John Grinder, the two guys that are credited for inventing this, the swish, to where you take the different colors and make the negative energy and the negative thought stream go away. Well, those guys have been trying to get this out for 40 years. That it's that simple. They would have people come in with 30-year phobias and be rid of them in 30 seconds or 3 minutes, because they just told them to look at it, face it. And when they did, they would do the swish on them. And then when they would do the swish, there was no fear there no more. And people wants to know how it works and what's the inside key factors and how this works and everything. Well, there's been a study on it, and I think his name's Ecker. A lot of scientists have done a study on it, and they can tell you in scientific words, I'm a healer. I'm not a scientist, but I do study all the arts now. Don't get me wrong. But all the scientists can tell you, you know, in their terms, how this works. But all I can tell you is we have memories, okay? And the memories that we record in our mind and body, come through the five senses. And if you can imagine what the thought is that's been bothering you, then you can swish it away. Okay? Within a matter of minutes, something that might have been bothering you 10, 20 years, you can swish it away in a matter of minutes. Now I've said here, probably within 2 minutes of this explanation, this 20-minute explanation already, how to do the swish. If you rewind it and go back, you'll be able to look at a picture, see a white dot in the middle, watch it expand into a white and black dot. Nothing but a big black and white, like, picture in front of you, covers a wall, or, you know, it can be a stadium cinema screen. And then you'll look out at the same black and white picture and you'll see a yellow dot, and you'll watch it expand. And you let it get solid yellow, and just look at it for a few seconds, and then see the white dot out in the middle of the yellow dot, the big yellow wall picture, you know, the white dot. And then let the white dot expand. And then when you do that, look at it for a few seconds, and then imagine you got a rock, throw at it, bust it, watch it go through an imaginary hole in the floor, and then look up, and then think about, you know, after you look at something white for a few seconds again, think about what it was bothering you again. Okay? Or you can, like, say there's a family there, like a whole family, and it was just a bad memory of a family incident one time at one of the family get-togethers. Well, you could imagine what you wanted to happen and then shrink it. You can imagine what you wanted to happen in a big screen and then shrink it down to a small size and put it over in the corner of the screen like this in your mind's eye, like I just done here. Or you could put it over here, but it'd be like just a little dot down here. And then you look at the bad memory, and then you look down here at the little small good visual that you just shrunk down, and then you let it expand. Okay? And then when it expands, it'll all turn into a good picture in the way you wanted it to be. And that's the way your mind, in your imagination, you will remember it. With your senses, with your sight, smell, touch, feel, hear, with all of that. You go ahead and hear it. Go ahead and feel it. Go ahead and, you know, see it. And then when you look at it, because you expanded it through the picture, like that, swish. That's why it's called swish. Because when you see, most of us never knew that we could do this. You know, most will never practice it. But the truth is, this is how you can get rid of negative emotions super fast, guys. And it's for getting rid of pain in your body. That's what I used it for, and it works perfect for that. Or it could be for building your courage, you know, getting where you're not fearful of things. You can use the swish in 1,000 different ways, thousands of different ways, and the list goes on. But I learned that this swish was one of the most important parts to me getting better, because I had like thousands of just bad memories in my mind, you know, that I had to get and clean up. And I had a good time doing it. It was awesome to know that I could take the negative sting out of these bad memories, okay? That's pretty much it. Thank you.